So here we are in the quest for the final assignment of Coursera, and this is a remediation of Browning's poem Childe Roland to the Dark Tower Came. And I'm using the Neverwinter Foundry editor. What I've decided to do is take the poem and turn it into a fairly simple standard RPG quest. Here's the map I've built here earlier. I'm just going to take in a walkthrough. Let's just play the map and we'll go into test mode and play through it and see what it looks like. Just give it a second, load up here. What I've tried to do in this is basically take the main descriptive parts of the poem and use them as guides to do a quest. Now obviously if the player was just going to walk through the poem and just experience exactly what, not much happens in the poem. There's a problem. The poem mainly takes part in an interior world. What I've tried to do here is exteriorize some of what the poet and Childe Roland is thinking about, and exteriorize those and turn them into actions within the game itself. And you'll see here, here's our mini map at the top. On the right hand side you can see we've got question. Get directions from the hoary cripple, because the poem starts with he lied in every word, that hoary cripple, with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine. It goes on line 9. All travellers who might find him posted there and asked the road. And so let's go into the game. Here we are. Here's Childe Roland. And let's go along to the hoary cripple. And we'll press F to talk to the hoary cripple. And it's going to zoom in there, and we can see there he is. I used to try and get the idea. I mean, hoary usually means he's old. And crippled is kind of hard to show in a game, but I gave him an eye patch, and you can see he's kind of scarred and obviously weather beaten and a little bit, eerie looking. So I tried to get that, and I've just given him some the kind of dialogue that I expect that would happen in the background of the poem. So he says, "What can I do for you, young man?" And the player, or Childe Roland, answers, "A good day to you, sir. I'm on a quest to the Dark Tower. Do you know where I should find it?" And nice animation there. He points and shows the way. Just go across that bridge behind you. You'll find it on the other side of the plain. And now in the poem, Childe Roland asks his wife for the directions, and he said, acquiescingly, I did turn as he pointed. So that's why I put the pointing animation in. And he says, "Thank you, kind sir, I'll be on my way then." And I put a little animation where he's kind of gloating a little bit. "Good luck, young fellow, you're going to need it." Because in the poem in line 4 it talks as his mouth scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. So I tried to give that kind of eerie feel about it. So let's continue, and now says the quest says get direction to hoary cripple completed. The next quest is head over the bridge towards the Dark Tower. So here I've used a landscape that's very barren. Now the poem does mention a bridge later on. There's one in here just to get me over the thing, but I wanted to try and get some of the things are slightly out of sequence, but just for artistic points of view. But I've tried to get the vibe of the thing. The poem talks a lot about pledge to the plain. Grey plain all round, nothing but plain to the horizons bound. So I've used this landscape here that's very grey and very plain. Oh, also is at sunset. The poem talks about it being sunset earlier, right at the very beginning. And so I try to sunset evening kind of vibe there. So alright, so let's go up along, and you can see this little trail here to show me the way to go. So I'll go along here. And there's a war engine there. The poem talks about seeing war engines, so I put a couple of catapults and things in to give it the idea. And now we've gone across the bridge, and now we're getting to examine the lone horse. Now the poem talks about, let me just find it here. It's talking about there's starved ignoble nature. There's no trees, there's no plants, there's no grass. It said, such starved ignoble nature, nothing throve, for flowers as well expect a cedar grove. Penury, inertness, and grimace in some strange sort were the land's portion. in 61, 62. And the grass grew scant as hair in leprosy. Thin grey blades pricked the mud. In line 73 and 74. And then in line 75 or 76 it talks about one stiff blind horse, his every bone a stare, stood stupefied, however he came there, thrust out past service from the devil's stud. Alive he might be, dead for aught I know, with that red gaunt and coloured neck astray. And there he is, there's the lone horse, and you can see he's kind of red and gaunt looking. And we can have a look at him here, and we can examine him a bit more closely. I'll just continue that. I shut my eyes and turned them out. And then the Childe Roland in the poem starts reminiscing about his previous comrades, and he's talking about one taste of the old time sets all to rights. So I've exteriorized this part by actually giving making his old comrades ghosts that he sees on the way. So the first ghost or memory he talks about in the poem is in line 91. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold, dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold an arm in mine to fix me to the place the way he used. And so there's Cuthbert, and I'll just talk to Cuthbert. And you see he's tried to, he talks about the red gold hair. I try to give him some hair that looks right there. And he's giving a warning. We also trod this path in life, Childe Roland, beware. And try to use some lines that give you the idea of the ominous idea of it, and the fact that he is dead, and that he has trod that path before too, in the way that Roland is now going to tread the same path into the same kind of danger. And then line 97 of the poem, Giles then, the soul of honour, there he stands, and there's Giles. Frank as 10 years ago when knighted first, so he's also a knight as well. And he says, what honest men should dare, he said, he durst, in line 99. So if we talk to Giles, he'll say the same thing. What honest man should dare, I dared. He's, sort of a bit more stronger and active and more powerful in character than Cuthbert there. Alright, so our quest is now proceed onwards, and we're going to go up here. And now the poem talks about the bodies of other adventurers, dead adventurers now. So, and talks about when he's forward going the next step, he feared, in line 121, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek each step, or feel the spear I thrust to seek for hollows tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but it sounded like a baby's shriek. So what I've done here is I've taken this idea of there being other dead adventurers and turned them into zombies, because you can't. It's always good to have zombies in a computer game. And also this gives us some action. So you can see there's some dead bodies of adventurers lying up here, but there's also undead adventurers waiting for us up ahead. So let's get into combat with the other undead adventurers. I'm going to jump up here and hit these guys a bit. Here we go. They're not too difficult. That's the undead adventurers gone, but we can see there's more of them up here now. Continuing your quest is what I'm told to do, and I go up here and we can see that there's some more undead adventurers. Get a little bit closer and leap in there. That's how we go. Alright, let's go and hit him. This one's a lot tougher. Bash him a bit there. Let's get, there's a couple of zombie archers. And let's get this other one over here. Alright, and they've dropped some loot. So let's grab some money. Continuing your quest. Now I'm getting a warning to proceed warily onwards. So let's proceed warily. We can start to see the tower, or the outside of the tower, coming up here, but we're going to go up this way along the plain. And in the poem, obviously Roland spends a lot of time going across the plain, thinking and reminiscing and so on, which in a game would be kind of boring. I mean, people want action in games. So again, I've tried to keep the atmosphere, but always keep a little bit of action going on. And here's some more undead up here. These look like more undead adventurers. Let's see, there we are. And I'm going to go up there and take these guys out. Oh, and there's a, oh, that one doesn't look very good. That's a mage up there. Uh-oh. Casting some spells. Better get out of these red circles. And let's get that on over there. Oh, that one's still, let's get rid of that. Okay, potion of healing dropped there. That could be handy. Let's just take a potion of healing. There we go, a little bit better. And more treasure. There we are. Okay, and now the poem talks later on in line 159. He's getting closer near the end, and we can see the tower right up ahead, just slightly ahead there. It talks in line 160, a great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past, nor beat his wide-winged dragon pen that brushed my cap. So I took that and thought, well, this will make a nice sort of boss encounter, a great black bird. So here's the bird up ahead, and another couple of undead adventurers, and let's go up here and see how this works out. And as we're getting closer to the towers, you can see just in the background there. Let's take out the great black bird. Alright, ooh, and there, get out of the way there. Ooh. Oh, definitely need to heal myself a bit more there. At least I got the bird down. Got him. Alright. So lots of treasure. Let's just pick all that up. And we will and then we'll move on. And the next stage of the quest is, whoops, having a bit of an issue here with my combat. There we go. And let's move Childe Roland up towards the Dark Tower, and we can see I've put in the Dark Tower in this case is a huge, monumental, massive thing that's sitting here up on the top of the rocks. Now, then at 175 it says, burningly it came in me all at once. This was the place. These two hills on the right crouched like two bulls, locked in a horn in fight. So it's up here in the hills, as the thing describes, and we can see here, and I'll go across this bridge, and you know, earlier on in the poem it talks about a bridge across a dry ground, and where are we? So that was yes, it's in line 109. A sudden little river crossed my path, as unexpected as a serpent comes. And we can see here, this is like this dry river kind of idea here. No sluggish tide congenial to the glooms. Black eddies, and it talks about black eddies, mute despair. A river which had done them all the wrong, whatever there was rolled by, deterred no wit. So glad was I when he reached the other bank, now for a better country. So let's go to the other bank, and we can see that's taking us right up beside the Dark Tower now. Now the poem, of course, ends as Childe Roland gets to the Dark Tower. So I've chosen to just end this little demonstration module here. Obviously, if I was going to turn this into a complete game, I would have an interior and make the Dark Tower, you know, the player would expect to actually be able to enter the Dark Tower and find adventure inside. Perhaps some evil wizard or necromancer or something like that. And you know, if I was turning this into a game, that would definitely be a full game. This would definitely be what I would do after that. But right now, I've just concentrated on getting the atmosphere of the poem, getting the major events of the poem, and also making it entertaining for someone to play through it. There's a lot more that could be done with it, but that would take a considerable amount of time. But in this short space of time that we have, I think you can see where I'm going with the idea of remediation. Oh, the poem also talks about giants living there. So there's a big giant dragon skeleton there just looming over you at the side. And of course, the most important thing in any quest, treasure at the end. So when the player's got all the way through there, he can open up the treasure chest and get a reward. And I will accept that reward. And there we go. Childe Roland quest complete. And that's my quest for remediating the poem. It's a simple poem. It's not easy to remediate in the sense that most of the action of the poem takes place inside Childe Roland's head. But so I think this idea of exteriorizing the interior wall is a way around it. Not sure if it's the best way around it, but it definitely forms the beginning of a very interesting adventure, and it has that full idea of being a quest. So I think it's quite successful. And there we have it.